What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Sunday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today we're going to be taking a look at a very, very interesting beer from a local brewery of mine. They're in Chicago. They're very, I would say they're very, very small microbrewery here in Chicagoland area, and they do some really cool stuff over there. It's my actual first beer from these guys as well, so I'm actually really, really excited because they have a specific message they kind of like to bring along when it comes to using really fresh ingredients and kind of sticking to an older style of brewing too as well when it comes to, like, I wouldn't say different fermentation methods, but just different ways of making their beer, and it comes to different ingredients, all that kind of stuff. Very, very unique ingredients when it comes to making their beer. So we got one here from Forbidden Root Brewing Company. This one is their Strawberry Basil Hefeweizen. Of course, a Hefeweizen is pretty much a wheat beer for a base. Of course, when you're brewing this stuff, it's going to be a base of like your wheat kind of style ale, and then when you're making it into a Hefeweizen, that's when you add the addition of Hefeweizen yeast that gives it that Hefeweizen flavor. So I'm pretty interested to see. When I saw strawberry basil on this one, I was like, okay, I have to give this one a try, just because it's just something. Get out of here! What the hell? Porn bots! God damn it! Hold, please. Jesus Christ. I didn't think I'd be getting porn bots on my channel, but I guess that's a thing that's happening now. Actually, if this moves forward, hold on. Face me. You're getting a wrench, just because if anything starts happening, I'm going to leave it up to you and a couple other people to start taking care of this stuff. So, but yeah, strawberry basil when it comes to a Hefeweizen, I'm really, really curious to see how this is going to turn out. Of course, this one only comes out to a 5.1% ABV, which very, very low ABV. I wouldn't say very low ABV, but still something that I would consider sessionable. And just seeing how I've heard of strawberry and basil working really, really well together when it just comes to flavor. So I'm curious of how it's going to bring in those flavors with the Hefeweizen. Of course, Hefeweizens have that kind of malty kind of characteristic to it. They have it brings in the flavor of the yeast to the beer, which is a very, very unique kind of flavor. I love Hefeweizens. Of course, there's many, it's an old world German kind of style of making beer as well. So let's crack this thing open. I'm curious to see what this thing's like on the nose. So let's see what we got. I'm definitely getting strawberry on the nose, that's for sure. Not really getting much of the basil coming through, which, of course, when they're adding basil, it's not going to be a predominant flavor. I think if they add enough basil, of course, it's going to be something you're going to get on the palate, but I don't think it's going to be something that's predominant enough to where you're going to be getting it on the nose and everything like that. So overall, the strawberry note is coming in pretty nice. Definitely getting that yeasty, malty kind of characteristic there as well. But yeah, I think this is going to be pretty damn delicious. Who knows? It might be pretty damn fruity, which is going to be an interesting flavor when it comes to a Hefeweizen. Of course, going to be drinking this today out of my Black Horizon Brewing Company. It's a newer glass in my collection. They're out of Willowbrook. It's their kind of like their beer stein, which I think is a pretty dope looking beer stein. So let's pour this thing and see what this thing's all about. Oh yeah, it has a really nice color to it. Supposedly, for coloring, they decided to add purple carrots to this one, I believe is what they said. Purple carrots is the addition for color, and I think that's a really, really nice kind of way to add it in there. Of course, it's a very, very nice, almost like murky kind of like purplish red, kind of pinkish kind of color to it. A little bit of head. Definitely, okay, strawberry's coming through a little bit more now. That basil's starting to make itself well known, but that's nice. Of course, the color in this one, I think, is just a very, very nice color to beer. Definitely something that I wouldn't expect to see in a Hefeweizen. So I think it's time for us to give this guy a try and see what it's all about. So cheers, everybody. Happy Sunday. Okay. That is very, very interesting. I'm going to tell you right here. The strawberry brings in a slight kind of tartness to it, but I think it's not like any fermentation tartness kind of situation. It's the natural tartness of like a wild strawberry. Definitely getting a little bit of the basil coming through. When it's not like singular flavors, you're getting strawberry and then you're getting basil. No, together you're getting that like strawberry basil, just one singular flavor that's actually working really well. More of those heft, kind of the yeasty kind of notes, is definitely a little bit more mellow when it comes to the flavors you're getting on this one. But overall, I think it's pretty well balanced. I like that slight tartness. It gives it a little bit more of a refreshing kind of feel to it. The basil is not overpowering. It's just an overall really, really nice, just one cohesive strawberry basil flavor in here that I think is just, it actually works really, really well in a Hefeweizen. I think that's definitely a unique flavor out of this kind of style of beer. I would love to see them do like a strawberry basil kind of sour. I think that would be a nice little addition. Of course, using lactobacillus to kind of help sour that beer a bit more and bring in more of those tartar notes of the strawberry. But yeah, this is pretty solid. I'm impressed. Great mouthfeel. Definitely has that more of like a, it's not dry, anything like that. Of course, there's the addition of hops added in this one, but it's more of like kind of the addition of maybe possibly like more florally kind of hops to help bring in like a little bit, enhance those flavors of the strawberry they added in there. But I don't think there's anything when it comes to crazy amount of bitterness. When it comes to the hops, anything, you're not really getting anything like that. But I think this is a pretty damn solid brew for my first try for something that is from Forbidden Roots. I think this is a pretty damn solid beer. I'm enjoying this one. So let's look over here at Untappd. And of course, first we like to look at the description of this one. And the description says, it's a German Hefeweizen brewed with wild strawberry and urban till basil. Light, refreshing, and slightly tart. Yeah, hits every single... I get every single note that they're describing in that description. That's pretty damn good. They're pretty spot on with this guy. So, of course, if you're looking to try to find a similar beer to this one, of course, it's going to be difficult just because of the addition of the strawberry and the basil. You're not really going to have something that tastes exactly like it unless you get the specific beer itself. But if you're looking into possibly getting into Hefeweizens, there are a bunch of beers out there that are pretty damn solid. Of course, there's some of the more well-known German kind of Hefeweizens, like stuff from Hockershore, or you got Paulina Brewery, I think that's how they said. But it's a lot of, you can go to possibly like a Whole Foods or something like that and find a lot of German Hefeweizens. But there's a couple other more craft breweries that are starting to play around with this stuff. Of course, you got Dungeon Hollow making it. They have the Mad King Ludwig Hefeweizen. Of course, Hockershore, the well-known Hefeweizen out there. Noon Whistle makes their Lethal Weapon. Of course, you got Kuchi Brewery, Kaiuchi, I think that's what it's called. That, I wonder if that's, I'm trying to remember if that's a, see that, okay, yeah, so this is a Japanese brewery that made this kind of wheat beer, Hefeweizen kind of style, which I think is cool. So you can possibly get some beers like this in Japan. Of course, if you're in Illinois, the Two Brothers makes a really good Hefeweizen called the Ebelsweiss. Let's see, if you're within my area, there's a like kind of like a restaurant / brew pub called the Lucky Monk, which makes their kind of version of a Hefeweizen. And then you got Port Huron Brewing Company, which is their namesake Hefeweizen over there. So yeah, there's a bunch of different breweries out there that kind of make German inspired kind of things. Of course, Hefeweizens really get popular around Oktoberfest or start getting into the fall / winter. That's where you're going to start noticing some breweries coming out with that. Of course, there might be still some shops and bottle shops, all that kind of stuff that still have stock of some Hefeweizens. I'm not 100% sure if Forbidden Root has distribution outside of the state. So your only opportunity most likely is to get your hands on this one specifically is going to possibly, if you're visiting the state or if you're in downtown Chicago and want to visit a different kind of brewery. Forbidden Root is definitely one I would suggest for having unique styles of beer. Of course, they have Pilsners. They play around with some different single malt, single hop pale ales, using like heirloom malts and all that kind of stuff. It's really, really interesting. Of course, then they start playing around with different kind of specific hops in there, like a pale ale used with Michigan Jester hops. I've never even had a beer with Jester hops in it before, but they have like a rosé ale. They have a double IPA. They have some, of course, they have one called the Ohio High, which is like a hazy IPA from them. And they got, of course, some nice juicy, so the Ghost Tropic, Radio Swan, the Purple Pills. So they got a bunch of different varieties of stuff that's Very, very interesting flavor profiles. They add different ingredients to different kind of beers to kind of make them their own, which I think I got to give a lot of credit to Forbidden Root to kind of go to that realm of kind of making normal namesake beers when it comes to just IPAs, Pilsners, regular pale ales, and kind of making them their own, which I think is a really, really cool thing that they do. But overall, I think this beer is pretty damn delicious. So if you want to try to find a Hefeweizen, Hefeweizens are not difficult to get your hands on at all. I think since it's a very, very German-inspired beer, a lot of breweries are going to make this. You most likely will be able to find this at like a liquor store or bottle shop when it comes to finding a Hefeweizen itself. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a Weiss beer, a little bit. I would say that's pretty close in the description there, Ian. But, of course, let's look back here at Untappd and let's see what we're looking at for ratings on this guy. So, like I stated before, on Untappd it's saying it's a 5% ABV, but on the can it states it's a 5.1, which you really can't really tell the difference between the two. And of course, with over 9,811 ratings, this one has an average rating of 3.68 out of 5, which is pretty good. I would say for this kind of very, very unique style of beer, having that almost really close to that 3.75 average is a pretty damn good rating, I would say, because it's so unique and so like out of the ordinary when it comes to something you'd see with a Hefeweizen. It's definitely a really, really nice kind of change of pace for this kind of style of beer, and I could see this down the road possibly getting more popular. Most likely, if people are drinking this one, if they're like more traditionalist Hefeweizen fans, they may not like it. But if you're looking to try something different, and if you're a fan of Hefeweizens, I would say give this one a chance, because it definitely has some really nice flavors. The tartness makes it a little bit more refreshing. You still get a little that basil note in there, mixes really well with that strawberry note in there. Kind of makes it a little bit more herbal, florally, that I think is a really, really nice touch to like that tart strawberry. But let's look here and see if there's anybody on my friends list who checked this one in. Let's see. Of course, I think there's only one, because I know my dad's the one that picked this stuff up at the brewery, so he went over to Forbidden Root and got us 4-packs and all that kind of stuff. And then we have some other people in my friends who checked this one in. So he drank it. He gave it a 3.75, purchased at Forbidden Root, and he said it's a nice different spin on a Hefeweizen, nice flavor. Yeah, I definitely agree. Let's see, we got my cousin who checked one in, gave it a 3.5 out of 5, and then somebody on my friends list as well gave it a 3.75 out of 5. They actually got it on draft. But let's look here at the global ratings and see what other people had to say about this guy. So this person gave it a full 5 out of 5, purchased it on draft. Oh wait, do they have a Columbus, Ohio? Okay, that's interesting. So I now know that Forbidden Root has a location in Columbus, Ohio. So if you're ever near the Columbus area, if you're not anywhere near Chicago, the Forbidden Root Columbus has this on draft right now. So you can possibly go over there and give this one a try. This person, like I said, gave it a full 5 out of 5. Let's see, another person drinking in the Columbus location gave it a 4.25 out of 5. This person looks like they drank it out of the Chicago location, gave it a 2.5. Maybe it's not for them. I definitely can say this beer is not going to be for everybody. What else? We got a 4 here, right here. Let's see, we got a 4.25. This person gave it a 0.5 out of 5, which looks like he drank it at the Old Town Poorhouse in Oakbrook, which is a nice little kind of like beer bar, sports bar kind of situation. What else do we got here? We got a 3. Then we got 4.25, purchased at the Forbidden Root Columbus. And let's do 2 more. We got a 3.75, and then we got a 3.25 out of 5. So yeah, ratings are definitely a little bit all over the place. I'm seeing a lot of higher rating check-ins out of the Columbus location, which is interesting. Maybe that kind of crowd over there may be more of a fan of the tartar kind of style of Hefeweizens, because I've never had a Hefeweizen like this before. I'll be straight up and honest with you guys. But overall, when it comes to looking at these ratings, sure, there are some that are pretty low, but most likely it's for people that expected a Hefeweizen, more of a stronger Hefeweizen than they got that strawberry basil flavor, and it most likely wasn't for them. Like I said before, this is not going to be a beer for everybody. But overall, I would say ratings on this one are still pretty good in my opinion. So with all that being said, I think it's time for us to start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings over here on our end with this guy. The first thing we're going to look at is can art, because it may not be what I usually kind of go for when it comes to very, very intricate, like having just a lot of detail in it when it comes to like gore or kind of metal themed. But this one has a really nice kind of more kind of, how do I explain this, more classy kind of theme to it with still a lot of detail in it. So you got the, of course, strawberry basil right up front, forbidden root, and then you kind of have the pictures of all the ingredients. So you got the strawberry there, the basil, and of course on the other side the same thing as well. And I think that's a lot of detail to where it makes this something that would be eye-catching at a liquor store or bottle shop. Of course, the holographic forbidden root on the side is always a nice touch. But when it comes for like taking up the amount of real estate they had to pretty much merchandise this beer and market it, I think they did a pretty damn good job taking advantage of all the real estate they have on that label and just making it something that is eye-catching. Of course, the red and green is a nice touch. Having that clean, classy, like front, like stamp kind of logo right there is really cool. So yeah, this would definitely be something that would catch my attention at a liquor store or a bottle shop, just because how much detail they put into it and just how classy and just overall really well marketed this one is. So I'm definitely impressed with this one. So for can art, I'm probably going to give this a solid 4 out of 5 for can art. I like it a lot. This is definitely something that would catch my attention. So let's see here. If I got this beer in a flight over at Forbidden Root Brewing Company, would I get another one? To be honest, I think I probably would. I like the tartness. I like sours, so the sour notes aren't really anything that's like unpleasant to me. The flavors are there. The hef kind of situation that you get with the hef yeast is there, but overall, that is definitely the lowest point when it comes to the flavor-wise. I may have wanted just to have this one a little bit more of that hef kind of flavor, that Hefeweizen flavor in there, but I can see why they did what they did, letting that strawberry basil speak to you more than the flavors that the yeast is going to add to it. But overall, like I said, this is a really well balanced. Still has those Hefeweizen flavors. Still has that really nice, strong, refreshing, tart kind of like strawberry basil flavor in there. So overall, for me personally, Forbidden Root knocked it out of the park with this one. This is definitely one of the better, most unique Hefeweizen beers I've ever had. I'm gonna be straight up this, and I haven't really had crazy amounts, but when it comes to unique and having different flavors in it, this is definitely the most unique beer with this kind of style that I've ever had. So with that being said, what is my final rating on this guy going to be? I'm probably going to give it a really solid 7.5, maybe 7.75 out of 10. I think that's pretty much a nice kind of place to leave it. It's overall a really solid beer. Like I said, if you're a fan of Hefeweizens and you're also a fan of sours, this is like almost the best of both worlds, because you get that, like the yeast in there, of course, a little bit of maltiness, and then having the yeast flavor from the Hefeweizen yeast that they use to pretty much gives it its own flavor on its own. You get that flavor, but then you get that strawberry basil tartness in there with a little bit of herbal, a little bit of spice kind of notes in there. And I really like the addition of adding the purple carrot in there to help with color. Of course, when it comes to like an SRM rating, I don't think this one would be too crazy. It's not too dark, but I really like that almost pinkish, orangish kind of like color to it. It gives you the note, lets you know that there's strawberry, and it kind of helps let you know that strawberry flavor is going to be there. But having that purple carrot kind of color in there is definitely a very interesting thing. So overall, there's really not much for me to fault on this beer. Like I said before, and most likely I would have liked it a little bit more if that kind of yeast kind of flavor was just there, just slightly more. But I understand why they did it the way they did. So yeah, 7.75 I think is where I'm going to leave it with this one. Still an absolutely delicious beer. So if you have the opportunity to get yourself over to either the Chicago location or the Columbus, Ohio location, I highly recommend it. Of course, if you possibly can find somewhere near those two places that have it on a liquor store or bottle shop, or possibly distribute it, you never know. You might be able to find little spots that they may distribute out of just the brewery or tap room itself. But overall, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So other than that, let's see what we got here. I think that's pretty much it. So of course, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It will help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live doing the review. I might have a review planned for you guys tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure if I'm going into work yet or not, but we'll kind of take it by ear. So if you see a post tomorrow on Instagram, you'll know that we have a review coming. So, of course, My Instagram is going to be the best way for you to find out what's going to be reviewed that day or not. So if you haven't shot me a follow over there, my Instagram is down in the description below. Do my usual hand checks of what I'm going to be reviewing. Plus, you'll see a little bit of behind the scenes stuff I'm doing over at the brewery when I'm at work. But of course, another thing that you can do to shoot me a friend request on, you guys hear me talk about Untappd all the time. It's a fantastic platform. It's pretty much the greatest platform for craft beer lovers out there. I like to call it Facebook for beer drinkers because that's pretty much what it is. It's almost like a social media platform. But you can check in beers, get badges, all kinds of stuff. It's really, really cool. And if you haven't shot me a friend request on there yet, what the hell are you doing with your life? Link to my profile is down in the description. And if you're a craft beer fan and you're not on Untappd yet, you're doing something wrong. Get yourself onto Untappd. Download it on the App Store. No matter if you have iPhone or Android. And just have fun with it. Explore the app. They have some really cool features on that kind of platform that they have for themselves. So it's really, really cool to kind of take advantage of. But last but not least, of course, I always talk about you guys. The best way to support me, of course, with what I'm doing when it comes to reviews and all that kind of stuff, is going to be heading over to the Patreon and shoot me a joining over there, because it helps me get more beer in my hands, plus it helps me get more beer reviews out to you guys. But there's a lot of perks that are involved with it as well. I do monthly 4-pack giveaways over there for Illinois exclusive craft beer. I believe one of the last packages I sent out had a Forbidden Root beer in it. I don't think it was this one specifically, but there was another Forbidden Root beer in that one. So possibly down the road you may be able to get your hands on this one when it comes back around. I might pick up the Strawberry Basil and stick it in one of the packages when they're released, or possibly if I can find some more by the end of this year, maybe add in another kind of giveaway for that. But I have a bunch of different plans for the Patreon as well. I'm working on possibly getting a Discord started once we get a little more traffic over there, and then possibly working on merch, glassware, coasters, koozies, all that kind of stuff. And down the road, I'm working on possibly doing a little bit of collaboration stuff when it comes to different giveaways I can do over at the Patreon with possible different beer content creators with some of their merch and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, maybe doing a 4-pack giveaway with a specific brewery that I decide to team up with and do a giveaway for. So if you want to take advantage of all that and possibly try new beers that you normally wouldn't be able to get your hands on, the Patreon is going to be the best way to do so. Of course, it's a little fun. We have a small group of people over there. It's just a fun little group that we have some good times. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today. So thank you again, everybody in chat, for hanging out. You guys are awesome. Thank you, everybody who's going to be watching the replay as well. You guys are fantastic. And yeah, I know, Face Meat, the beer helmet was an ongoing thing that you're trying to force me to do. And who knows? It might happen. I just got to look in to see if that's even possible. But you never know. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. So again, thank you, everybody in chat, for hanging out. You guys are awesome. And I'm going to end this like I always do before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see you all next time. Cheers.